hits are a rare occurrence in this business, and once in a great while you get something really great. And Quentin Tarantino gave me a really great thing. This is after a 30-year career had upped and downed, and then I caught a little bit of strength for Jackie Brown, and then Alexander Payne gave me a little shot in The Descendants.
I'm gonna hit you. How often do old people just haul off and cold cock you like that?
You might notice on my lapel, there's a hand-carved badge with turquoise points on it. This was a badge that was worn by a man who played Nakia, a law enforcement officer in New Mexico. And that man, Robert Forster, happens to be here right now. He's our guest. Nice. This was a nice gift from a nice guy, so and he's not getting it back, unless he wants it. If you want it, it's yours.
No, it's always yours, Rob.
What a guy.
By the way, John Saxon and I worked together in 1972 in Banyan.
Oh, Banyan was another series. That's it. Banyan, good show.
And I've been out to the desert to work on Michael's radio show for at least once, maybe twice. And not only that, but we're all three Italian guys, are we? Is that correct? And all three of us have played American Indians? Is that? I used to say I was in a lot of cowboy movies. When I was a kid, Westerns were called cowboy movies, but I was always the Indian. Although I have done a couple of with hats on, but I don't have my hat anymore. But my understanding about John Huston, you asked me, you said, what was his humor like? I think he liked torturing actors. But he was extremely nice to me. I can only tell you he recognized me as just as green as can be. And as I recall, flying over in the 707, you remember those first long-distance jet planes? And somewhere during the flight, his assistant came back to me. I was sitting there waiting, on the flight to Rome. And he said, John wants to play poker. Now, I knew what beat what, maybe, but I was not a poker player. And I reluctantly went up there and I said, oh, Jesus, what are these guys playing for, I wonder? And so he took the candy dish and he started passing out greens to everybody. And he said, okay, these will be ones. And I thought, oh, God, they're playing for pennies. And I had told the guy, don't let them play for big stakes. Because I got, I probably had the most money I ever had in my pocket was $40 or $50. And that's maybe all I had. But when we got there, he started passing out the greens. These would be ones. And I thought to myself, oh, damn it, these guys are playing for pennies on my account. I felt terrible. And then he said, and these will be fives, and the yellows will be $20. And that's when I realized I didn't have enough money in my pocket to cover the bank he had just given me. They were good to me. They didn't take money from me. As I remember, I didn't wind up empty on the flight, and there you go. But I know I had more money in front of me that they passed out than I was getting paid for the movie.
I listen at the fort. I hear from the Indians about the boy. You know what he is, this boy?
Yeah.
Well, I figure maybe you don't know. So I ride Hennessy. Then I ride Silverton. Silverton, they're all dead, too. I come tell you. He's on his way.
Tonight, when the stalking moon is high, he will find them.
The next film you made was a great Western that Robert Mulligan directed with Gregory Peek and Eva Marie Saint, The Stalking Moon, where you played another Indian.
Yes, I did.
In The Stalking Moon with Gregory Peek, I mean, a major star at the time, too.
Great big star, as good a guy as he looked like he was. Really, really a gent.
And you're on location. Did you grow up liking Westerns, too, as a kid?
Oh, sure. Westerns were a big part, and I knew who Audie Murphy was. A lot of us grew up here just after World War II, and he was a big guy then. The Stalking Moon was the second movie in which I get to ride a horse. And
You had a saddle this time?
I had a saddle this
Your
time.
clothes on?
Oh, the clothes on. And there was a guy who came here once or twice and who was going to come here several weeks ago, Dean Smith.
Sure.
What a good guy,
Yeah.
Dean Smith. I'm sorry he wasn't here because I wanted
Did
to tell
Dean
him.
work on that film?
Oh, he was my stunt guy, and he showed me lots and lots of horse tricks and how to get on, how to jump off the other side, and da-da-da-da. He was real good, and he made me look good, although I had some shots in the picture where it was me, and I rode like hell, and all the while, every time we did it, I thought, I hope the horse can keep up this time and can stand up, because we did the shot. As you well know, westerns are made of many repeats, and so though I did a good deal of the riding, and by then I took my theory of being part of the horse and pretended. I've gotten as far as a guy could ever get with fakery in my life.
You had a wonderful scene with a little Indian child in that movie.
Yes, I did. Yes. This kid was, his name was Noland Clay. He was the 10th child in the family, and by the time they had him, there was no more land to give him, and his name therefore was Noland Clay. Noland Clay. And if you ever see the picture, he's got a beautiful face, this kid, and he was Eva Marie Saint's son in this, by the dangerous figure of El Savage, who was chasing Gregory Peek and Eva Marie Saint and his son and me by the time it was over with. And so we have now gotten to a peaceful moment in the movie. We're 2/3 of the way in before the big action starts again. And I am looking for somebody to play cards with. I play a half-breed scout, an Indian scout, and Army scout. And he is, Gregory Peek is a full scout for the Army. And he and Eva Marie are peacefully waiting for something to happen. And we're at a little corral where I am looking for somebody to play cards with me. We know that from the beginning of the movie. And the old guy, whose name I don't remember now, I asked him, you want to play poker, old man? He said, he doesn't even give me the benefit of a remark. He turns his back on me and walks. The little kid's sitting there. I say, hey, kid, you want to play poker? He looks up. He doesn't say anything. This is one of the great lessons as an actor that I had. We rehearsed the scene before the sun had gone up high enough, and we went back to our trailers. And during the rehearsal, I realized that the little kid was very scared. Now, this was only my second movie, and I was also very scared. When we started the scene, I had to nurse every line out of the kid. But what I had learned in the dressing room, or thought to myself, even if the other guy doesn't know his words or can't come up with them on time, or if you got to make a scene out of it. It doesn't matter what's on the page, you got to make a scene out of it. And so the scene follows the script, and then I'm teaching him one. I say, what is this? I show him an ace. He says, one, come on, one, ace. He finally says ace. I said, deuce, 3. The mother goes by. She thinks I'm teaching him something. Finally, I say, 4. Come on, 4. He said 4. Good boy. I take out a cigar. I've been smoking cigars in the picture. I realize this is the moment for doing so. I pull out a second cigar. I stick it in the kid's mouth, and the scene ends on 2 guys looking at each other with cigars in their mouth. I got Banyan because the producer of it said, that was such a charming thing you did at the end. And I said to myself, see, that's what happens when you try to make a scene out of whatever is on the page.
Excellent.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Have you ever been collared and dragged out into the street and thrashed by a naked woman?
Marlon Brando.
I swear I'll kill you!
Reflections in a Golden Eye. Williams, the enlisted man, who knows all about one kind of wild animal. Now he will discover another kind.
In Reflections in a Golden Eye, there is a very complex shot.
Well, the complex shot, he was naked riding this horse.
No, I wasn't going to say that.
Makes you want to see the movie, right?
Well, on that score, just to say so, I was totally green. And they sent me the script after I had gotten the job. they sent me the script, and I read the script, and I saw in the thing it said, rides naked on a horse. And I thought to myself, gee, I wonder how they do it. Probably trick photography or something. And in fact, at some point, somebody said to me, do you ride a horse? And Bruce, what do you always say? Of course I rode a horse. Now, in Rochester, New York, I'd only been on a horse, the kind where you pay 10 cents, and they put you on and you're a little kid, and you ride around a couple of times, and then you get off the horse. This was my horse riding experience, truthfully. But when I got the job, I said to myself, well, how hard could it be? And I thought of those pictures of those mythical characters, guys who are part of a horse, and I said, well, that's probably how you do it. You become part of the horse. And so, we got to the day when I had to ride naked on the horse, and we got to the set. It was in Italy, in a forest, a beautiful forest that had been geometrically planted so that, all the trees were in a line. It was a beautiful forest, and as we approached the set, here I saw there was a guy naked on a horse riding around, and the cameras were set up, and they were setting up the shot, and I thought to myself, oh, Jesus, I'm not going to let that guy do my thing. I realized he was an Italian extra and he was representing me or something. And I went to Huston. I said, hey, look, I can do this. He said, can you really, Bobby? I said, sure I can. Don't worry, I can do this. And the next thing I know, the wardrobe department handed me the little webbed part of a jock strap cut with just the webbed little cup part and a roll of flesh-colored tape, and sent me into my dressing room to prepare myself so that I could be modest, apparently. Well, I taped this thing on. I did the best I could, and I came out in a robe, and I jumped up on the horse, and this was a big, nice mare, flat-backed, and I had no saddle, but a bridle. And so we started riding around, and I found the path, and I went around once or twice. By the time the horse and I had gone a couple of times, the horse was all lathered up, and this thing was slipping off. And so somewhere on the far side of the thing, I pulled it off, and I threw it in the bushes, and that was it. I said to myself, Bob, if you're going to be afraid of this, if you can't do this, you better quit being an actor, because otherwise, you got to go at it with confidence, and that's how that shot went down. I actually in the movie, it wasn't trick photography.
Okay. Well, I know everybody wants to see Reflections in the Golden Eye again now.
Leonora, the kind of woman every man can have, except her husband.
Mr. Robert Forster, give him a big hand, please. Oh, that was loud. Well, you've had quite the year, sir.
I've had a decent year, and Mike said that Nakia was a backdoor pilot. I didn't remember that until he said it.
Yes.
Linda Evans was in it?
Correct. Oh. And it was back when they had a 90-minute time period for movies. Yep. But the ratings were so good on Nakia that it was spun off into a series.
Yes, it was the television version of
Billy Jack?
Billy Jack.
I think that was the problem with it, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, it was, because they never bought the rights to make it into a television series. And as soon as the show went on the air, it was sued by Tom Laughlin. And while we got a 13-show order, it was over in 13, because by then the lawsuit had killed him.
I think you look more like a Native American than Tom Laughlin.
I've been in a number of Westerns over especially the beginning of my career. But I was always the American Indian. And during that time, there were less guys who had any experience, and so I got those jobs at the beginning. But I can tell you one thing: I had the feeling that I must deliver my best self to those roles. when I knew that I was representing somebody else, it gave me the incentive to find the best guy I could in myself and deliver that guy. So it was, they were character building roles. The one I did with Gregory Peek.
The Stalking Moon.
Yes, and one with a real good director who died early,
Tom Grise.
Tom Grise, Journey Through Rosebud, and others. But I did work with Linda Evans again in a television Western that was a full movie.
Standing Tall you're playing another Native American.
Yep.
And that, when you played characters like that, did
Yep.
you have a Native American coach to help?
In general, no. The best coach I had when I started doing Westerns was Dean Smith.
Yes.
Who is still one of the fastest guys in the world. Even, I'm sure he feels like he's one of the fastest guys in the world. And he was a real horseman, and he took me and showed me an awful lot of horse tricks and gave me the courage to, ride with abandon. He was a good guy, and that was the Gregory Peek Western,
The Stalking Moon. A wonderful film. Now with Nakia, because these days everything goes on location, but when Nakia was done in the early 70s, most series were still in the studios, on the sound stages, or just shot around locally, but Nakia was shot in New Mexico, which now is a big hubbub of shows. But what was it like being on location for that length of time in Nakia?
Oh, I learned what an adobe house was. We lived in an adobe house, and it was a modern house and all that, but it was great. I had my son come out from New York City, and the Wranglers got him a little horse to ride, and he learned, some of the things that he couldn't have learned anywhere else from New York City. This business has been rich, has been good to me, given me all kinds of things that I never figured out when I was trying to get out of geometry class in 10th grade. It was,
so that's why you got into acting, geometry?
No, I got out of high school, and my father always said, you're going to go to college, Bob. And so without knowing what it was, I eventually got out of college. But in my senior year, I spotted a girl on my first day of my senior year, and I followed her into the auditorium. They were doing a play, and I figured that's how I'm going to meet the girl. I auditioned for the play. It was it was Bye Bye Birdie. I had seen never seen the movie, but I had seen the trailer to the movie, and I knew it was about a guy with a gold suit who does a parody of Elvis Presley. I said, that's how I'm going to meet the girl. I auditioned for the guy with the gold suit. They gave me, they put me in the chorus. I said, nah, forget it. I don't want to be in the chorus. And I said, stick, Bob, you'll meet the girl. I met the girl. I married the girl. We have 3 daughters. I wasn't kidding. And then some guy says to me, would you like to play the hero in a one-act Irish comedy? And I said, now you're talking. And from that point on, I said to myself, boy, I don't think I want to try to go to law school or something else. I went to my father, who was an elephant trainer on the Ringling Circus during the 1930s. The old man, he was what a good guy, what a tough guy, what a patient guy. It takes patience to train animals. He was so gentle. He was gentle with me as a kid. But I went to my father and I said, Dad, I don't think I want to be a lawyer. I think I want to be an actor. He didn't miss a beat. He said, I think you can do that, Bob. And so, merrily, I went to New York City without knowing there are this many of us and that many jobs. It is no mystery why it is so hard, but ignorance was my best friend, and I landed in New York, and somebody wanted to do a scene for a class, and we did it for an agent, and one thing led to another, and then I was under contract at 20th Century Fox.
Let's get back to Nakia for just a minute, because you worked with so many terrific people, even though it was only 13 episodes. The sheriff, you were the deputy in that series, but the sheriff was Arthur Kennedy.
Arthur Kennedy.
He's always been good.
Yep.
What was he like on?
He showed me how a real old-timer, no nonsense, know what you're doing guy could do. He didn't do anything much. He used that hat, and hit the damn hat every once in a while. You knew he was mad about something. He had a wonderful growl and delivery, and I learned things about actors every step of the way. You say to yourself, how does a guy who really knows what he's doing do it? And he was one of them.
In that show also, I know you were a big fan of the Bowery Boys and the Dead End Kids. You had Gabe Dell.
We had Gabe Dell, yes. One time early in my career, I was sitting in the makeup chair. It was before dawn at Warner Brothers, and I looked in the mirror, and sitting next to me was Hunts Hall, one of my faves. God, I couldn't let him know enough about how important he was to me. You know, I grew up with with the Bowery Boys and Abbott Costello and cartoons, and I had a movie theater when I was growing up that changed the bill 3 times a week, 2 days, 2 days, and 3 days. And I saw more movies as a kid for 11 cents, or sometimes a quarter, whatever it was. My mother said, "Bob, you're going to grow up to be an usher in a show." And
she'd be so proud.
She was. I said, "Listen, I tried my best, Ma."
And this was in Rochester.
This was in Rochester, New York, and that theater became a car wash. They tore out the front end and the back end, and they drove cars down through it. But I had a great early career when I was a kid. I could go to the movies when I was 6 or 7, maybe one of my cousins and me. You know, these were the old days when things were safe and people felt good about their kids going to the movies, which was not very far away, 150 yards, but it was up a street and over a street and up a street and over a street, and it wasn't very far, but you felt differently about things.
When you first came to Hollywood,
yes,
what were your expectations?
My expectations were always surpassed. I had no idea what was going on, what was going to happen next. But I came out as I just got married and drove out as a contract player. I had not yet received my first $245 a week paycheck. This was what I was going to get as soon as I arrived in Hollywood. And it was big money, as everybody remembers, 1966, I guess. And the first phone call, we took an apartment on Fountain Avenue. The phone was installed in 3 days, not like now, immediate, but 3 days. I waited the phone. The first phone call is from the agent. He said, "Do you know who John Huston is?" I said, "No, I don't." He says, "Well, he's a big guy in this business, and he wants to meet you for Reflections in a Golden Eye." But I read it quick and I jumped on a plane. I got out of LA as quick as possible. I went to New York City. I met this John Huston. John Huston gave me the best piece of advice I have ever gotten about acting. I read the book, Reflections in a Golden Eye, short book. I get to New York City, I find this hotel on Madison Avenue where I'm going to meet this John Huston. It's a real bright, hot Saturday. I finally find the door. I walk in, and my eyes are adjusting to the dimness of the light inside the lobby of the hotel, and everywhere I look, everywhere, there's guys. They all look like me. This is a cattle call. I had never been in one, but I knew what the word was, cattle call. And I said, "Nah, I'm not going to stay here." And I took a hike, and I walked around, and I talked myself back to going, and I said, "Bob, come on, the guy, you already read the thing, you came all this way." I went back, there were less guys. I put my name at the bottom of the list. There was always a list. Eventually, my name is called. We're escorted up the elevator. We wait outside of a room. Somebody is escorted out. I'm escorted in. I'm introduced to this tall, old guy. "What have you done? What have you done?" I said, "Look, I haven't done much. I did one Broadway play. It wasn't bad, but I don't make myself an actor." I said, "I never did a movie. I don't know how they're made. I don't know what the tricks are, but if you hire me, I will give you your money's worth." Yeah. He said, "Ray, come in here, Ray. I want you to meet an actor." In comes Ray Stark, a big producer. I shake hands with Ray Stark. I turn back to the tall old guy. He says, "You'll be hearing from us." I said, "Okay." That was the kiss-off. When somebody says, "You'll be hearing from us," you never hear from anybody. I get on a plane. I go to Rochester. I stop off in Rochester to say hello to my father before coming back out to LA. I get off the plane. 2 hours after this meeting, my father says, quick, call your agents. They just made a deal. I didn't know that's how fast they operated. I got back to Los Angeles. The agents arranged a telephone call between me and this John Huston. I'm on the phone with Huston. I say, hey, look, I thank you very much for hiring me, and I appreciate it very much. I said, but do you remember I told you I never did a movie? He says, I remember. I say, well, and reading my mind, he says, I'll give you some instruction. About a month later, he comes out to Los Angeles. I meet him over at Western Costume, over by where Paramount is. We go, I meet him right away. I said, hey, look, they sent me the script, and you said you had some instructions for me. What are they? And he says, but not yet, Bobby. Maybe he's going to take me on a set. Maybe he's going to take me to lunch. I'm going to wait. And days go by and nobody calls, and days turn into weeks and nobody calls, and weeks turn into months and nobody calls, during which time Montgomery Clift dies and has to be replaced by Marlon Brando, and this takes some months. Finally, I get the call. I'm going to meet on Long Island for 10 days of shooting, then we're going to Rome, Italy for 12 weeks. Wow. I show up 3 days early. I go straight to Huston. I say, hey, look, you said you had some instructions for me. I've been reading the script all summer long. What are those instructions? He says, but not yet, Bobby. I don't know what he's waiting for. Now it's the night before we're going to start shooting. It's a long table. Everybody in the cast and crew, not Elizabeth Taylor, not Marlon Brando, but everybody else, Brian Keith and everybody else, and John Huston sitting right here, and I'm sitting right here, and all during dinner I figure he's going to lean over and toss me these pearls of wisdom. No, he does not. At the end of dinner, I lean to him. I say, hey, look, tomorrow morning we're going to start this thing. Don't you think now's the time to give me those instructions? He says, tomorrow morning, Bobby. Tomorrow morning finally comes. They put me in makeup. They put me in a wardrobe. They stick me in a car. They drive to the set. The car comes to a stop. I get the door open. I walk out, and from behind I hear Huston say, now's the time, Bobby. Shoot, I say, I'm all ears. He says, go take a look through the camera. I walk over to the camera. The cameraman steps aside. I look through the lens. I turn back to Huston. He says, you see those? Those are the frame lines. I look again. I say, you mean that line that shows the cameraman what the audience sees? He says, those are the frame lines. Now, ask yourself this. What needs to be there? He gave me the best piece of advice I could have gotten. He didn't tell me all the things I was going to have to figure out. He didn't tell me that I was going to have to do the detective work so that I could understand what this little fraction. Everybody here knows how movies are shot. They're shot in shots. You don't shoot a movie, you shoot a number of shots in a day, a small number of shots in a day. But you got to figure out what the writer needed you to do in this particular fraction, and that's not the end of it. The director may need you to make an entrance or an exit or move some props around or say something. The director needs something from you. He's giving you a route for the shot. The one who set the lights wants you to be in them. The one listening for the words got to hear them correctly, otherwise at the end of the shot somebody says, no good for sound, start again. If you do something too big for the shot you're in, somebody behind the lens says, no good for composition, start again. If you put the cup in the wrong spot, somebody says, no good for continuity, start again. You owe something to everybody on that set. Everybody is your boss. Everybody is somebody that needs something from you, and that's not the end of it. The other actor may have to do this emotionally in a scene. It's your job to build him a little ramp so that he can do this emotionally in a scene. And for the one who's cutting this picture together, that you want to know how the roller coaster track of this movie goes so that you can contribute to the ride and know where the downs and the ups are. And going around the curves, if you're not believable, the audience won't be with you at the end of the ride. You owe them something too. And for the person who hired you, you're expected to bring this picture in on time. Get those shots on a daily basis. And understand how movie making is so that you can help get your job done. It sounds like a hard job, and everybody in here knows that every actor they've ever known can do that 8 days a week. It is not that hard to create an action which advantages more than just yourself. And I remind people, and my children especially, and myself especially, you can create better actions whenever you want to, Bob. All you got to do is try. Keep the other guy's needs and interests in mind and do the best you can. That gives you a big advantage in life. You only get great shots once in a while. When I was first starting, I worked with Gregory Peek. And Gregory Peek, he was the president of the Academy at the time. And I said to him, how do you get into the Academy? He said, you need more credits. I said, how do you pick material? He said, you know, when I started, I was not sure how to pick material either. And so I went to a couple of actors I knew and asked them, how do you pick material? He said he went to Montgomery Clift. And he said, how do you pick material? Montgomery Clift said, you take very, very, very care of what you pick. You don't take everything they offer you. You live it and you breathe it and you feel it and you work on it and you examine it and you think about it. He said, that's how you pick material. Gregory Peek said, and he also went to Gary Cooper to say, how do you pick material? And Gary Cooper said, you take everything they offer you. You never pass up a day's work. You never pass up a day's work. And Gregory Peek said to me, and you know, both those actors had about the same number of hits. Hits are a rare occurrence in this business, and once in a great while you get something really great. And Quentin Tarantino gave me a really great thing. This is after a 30-year career had upped and downed, and then I caught a little bit of strength for Jackie Brown, and then Alexander Payne gave me a little shot in The Descendants.
I'm gonna hit you. How often do old people just haul off and cold cock you like that?
You only get really, really good things once in a while. And the rest, you know, you feed the kids.
Well, you know, Bogart took every role they offered him, too. He just worked.
That's what you do. It's the approach I had to take.
Well, Robert worked for me one time, too.
One of the great jobs of my career.
And I thought it was like down at the bottom, and you said, oh, no.
Oh, no, no.
You kept going down.
And no, somewhere near the middle down.
Oh, okay. But we had a wonderful time. We went to France. It was William Tell, The Adventures of William Tell. We were doing, this is a 90-minute pilot, and actually it was 90 minutes. It wasn't 73 minutes. But we had Guy Madison, because I wanted...
Guy Madison, they called him.
Guy
Madison.
Harry Carey Jr.
Yep.
Johnny Crawford.
Yep.
Guy Rolfe. We were in the south of France in Lyon and living in castles.
In castles. What a gig. A horse. We had horses. We went into actual castles. You know, it's a thrilling thing. Movie making is thrilling. Everybody in this building, everybody knows how much fun movie making is. And I am the beneficiary of guys like Rob. Somebody who says, I think I'll hire that guy.
Well, because we wanted to have fun.
I'm with you.
And we did, and it's like I didn't think I could get him, that he could come aboard. We were putting the show together. It ran for 3 years. It was on the Family Channel, and it was with Robbie Helmy, and it was called Crossbow, and it was a half hour. I think had it been an hour, it would still be seen. Jim Beaver, a terrific actor too, said, look at the cast of this series. Has anybody ever heard of Crossbow? And the cast was amazing. We just kept bringing people over to France, and but it launched with you. And what was it like being in France working with somebody like Guy Madison?
Well, he was already one of my heroes. You know, I grew up with, what was his cereal?
Wild Bill Hickok.
Oh, yeah, but what did he sell? Something Pops?
Oh, sugar corn pops.
Sugar corn pops.
They're tops.
They are tops.
That's a specially trained horse, trained to fall on command. That was real great, Dick.
Thanks.
Say, any tricks to making a fall like that?
Sure. I use a rubber stirrup to protect the horse. I also have a takedown saddle horn, so I can jump clear. Keeping in top physical shape helps too, Guy. You gotta eat the right kind of food.
Like me, Dick starts the morning with a good breakfast. Plenty of sugar pops for good food energy. Big puffs of corn shot with sugar. through and through for real nourishment and mighty fine eating, get Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pops. Sugar Pops are tops.
Anyway, no, Guy Madison, he was a serious guy. He made his own arrows. Do you remember that? He was a craftsman. He brought his bow. He was a bowman and an archer, and he made his own arrows. He was very proud of them. And
he was doing this on the show in France?
No. He had brought them. Oh. But he was anxious to use them. I'm afraid somebody must have said, no, you'll kill somebody with one of those. But he was proud of them. And Harry Carey Jr., good guy, was our friend for a long time.
Yeah, really blessed to do that.
You're a gent.
So that's it. He's done.
You're a gent. I love it. Thank you very much.